Good afternoon. It's Cartier, and this is another Tea and Tarot Tuesday. Today I want to talk a little bit about the holiday of Beltane, because this year it is more special than it's ever been as far as I can remember. And that is because the full moon is happening on Beltane. So there's two Beltanes. There's the Beltane of the sun and the Beltane of the moon. And this year they're on the same day, which is Friday, May 1st. Now, what is Beltane? Beltane is one of the original pagan holidays. They're also called the cross-quarter holidays. So the space between an equinox and a solstice is a cross-quarter holiday right there in the middle. And so these holidays have names. Beltane is May 1st. We have Imbolc, which is February 2nd. That's in the US is Groundhog Day. We have Lugnasa, also called Lammas, which is the beginning of August. And then we have Samhain, Halloween, on October 31st. So these are times that come right at the intersection of solstices and equinox, always in a fixed sign of the zodiac, and usually in the second week of the fixed sign. So the fixed sign is the stabilizing signs of the zodiac, and the second week is the stable week of each sign. So super stable. That's what makes these holy days. They bring forward a very stable energy. So I am hearing all kinds of things about Beltane on the internet that are not true. So I'm going to give you my real Beltane understanding. And I'm not an expert, but I seem to know a lot more than a lot of people on the internet right now. So we're going to go for it. These holidays, these cross-border holidays, were recognized by people in the ancient the old Celtic lands, the farmers. They were farmers mostly. They would gather together at these times. They would recognize them as part of the cycle of the planting season, and they would gather. They would get on their horse and link up their cart and come into town and meet to start to plan the next phase of the agricultural cycle. And around these meetings, there were festivities that happened. Now, the best articulation of Beltane is in my favorite book of all, The Mists of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley. Marion Zimmer Bradley is a brilliant writer who ended up being kind of a bad person in the end, but we still love the book. And in that book, she articulates her visionary understanding of what was going on at Beltane. So at Beltane, winter is over, we're into spring, and we're moving towards summer. So we're moving towards high growing season for all the plants. So Beltane is characterized by burning, by fires, outdoor fires in the field. And the reason they did this is by the first week of May, the farmers have had time to gather and pile up all of the winter detritus, all of the wood that fell from the trees, all of the stalks of last year's plants, all of the dead plant matter. They've all gathered it and piled it up. And now what they need to do is get rid of it so that it's not in the way anymore, so the plants can just grow. So they're going to get rid of it. They're going to burn it. So they light these bonfires all over the fields. And Beltane is honoring the fertility of the earth in that way. So we're burning away the winter detritus to create ash, which is minerally potent for the fields to make the plants really grow strong and vibrant because they're the food source. So that's the tradition around all of the fires. And the people would bless the fertility of the fields by going out into the fields and having sex. It was kind of a big orgy. All permissions were off. People could just run around in the fields and grab who they were going to grab and get it on. And that is very well described in The Mists of Avalon if you're interested. So Beltane is this holiday where we celebrate the fertility of the earth. You can do what you want with your partner in the fields, but what is important to do, I think, is to gather with people you care about and light a big fire and burn up all that old wood so that you can sprinkle the ashes all over your piece of land or other people's pieces of land so that the plants can grow really rich. It is honoring the fertility of the earth, remineralizing the soil so that the plants that nourish us grow, and acknowledging the sexy vibes that are in the air. All the flowers are blooming, all the animals are mating right now. That's all part of it too. So that's what we're honoring. As for me, as someone who's into fairy lore, this is one of the fairy magic holidays, the fairies, which are sort of the synergistic magic that comes when nature is really deeply harmonized. There's a synthesis that happens, and in that, there's a little bit of extra lightness, a little bit of extra magic. And this, to me, is the opening to the fairy realm. And Beltane is one of those holidays where the portals to these magical realms within the natural world open and are available for us to see and experience. So that's another quality of Beltane. So for this Beltane, I encourage you to get dressed up flamboyantly, to be outside with people you love, to share a meal around a fire, and let it be a late, long night, because that full moon in Scorpio shining overhead, which adds to the sexy vibes, it's the Priestess moon. It's a moon of awakening consciousness and the mothering of the earth and all of nature. So enjoy Beltane this Friday. And to give us a little bit of a tarot read, I am going to pick a few cards here. We got Strength, the Nine of Wands. Strength is about winning the battle with your wits about you. It's about earning the rewards of life through the hardships that you've gone through. It's about the wisdom that comes from going through a lot of stuff. So that's where we're at. We're in Strength. We've had a hard winter. We've worked hard. We've earned a lot. We're moving into a Wheel of Fortune. We're moving into a time where fortune is shifting to us. Now, the Wheel of Fortune, this is about the ups and downs of change, the wheel of change, that sometimes we're going up on the wheel, sometimes we're going down. So we're in a time where our energy and what's happening with us is shifting. That aligns with Uranus having entered Gemini last weekend. We're in a new phase now. All of the outer planets have made their transition into new signs. So this is the beginning of a new phase. And in that new phase, we're going to experience the ups of the new phase and the downs. That's what we're moving towards. In the past, the Four of Cups shows us that there's some stagnation in our energy. This is a card that's often associated with a kind of boredom that makes you turn a blind eye to your own blessings. So we've moved on from turning a blind eye to our own blessings. The antidote, of course, is gratitude, into a place of acknowledging the hard things that we've gone through to get where we are, and moving towards a new turn of the wheel. And what we're being asked to integrate is wealth. And this is a perfect card for Beltane. This is about acknowledging all that you have, all the abundance in your life. Beltane, if anything, is a holiday that acknowledges abundance. The abundant flowers, the abundance of friends, the abundance of the sunlight shining in my face right now, being so long and bright. Happy Beltane, everyone. I really hope that you will celebrate it as wildly as it deserves to be celebrated. Be well and be blessed. Bye.